Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to everyone joining us here virtually for one more webinar in the Jamnabai Narsee Education Series. We owe tremendous gratitude to our trustee, Mr. Sujay Jairaj, for conceptualizing these webinars when we first went into lockdown, and even more so because we are continuing with them now when we are already in unlock mode. Under the umbrella of the Narsee Monji Educational Trust, we have been taken through these series of webinars through a variety of topics by experts in various fields, and we have had an opportunity to enhance our knowledge, skill, and ability to resonate with all kinds of topics to do with spiritual, intellectual, physical pursuits. We bring to you one more today in the comfort of your homes that we hope you will enjoy very much. For those who are avid readers, you're very well familiar already with the topic Ikigai. And without any further ado, it's going to be my privilege to introduce to you our moderator for today, who in turn will introduce the speakers. This very fine young lady, Aisha Tharani, is one I have not had the privilege to enjoy classroom interaction with, but I've been very happy and proud to witness her growth. I have seen her participate in many a school program with a lot of grace, sophistication, and expertise. Aisha is a passionate musician and an advocate for cancer awareness. She plans to pursue further studies in the field of political science and law. Former head girl, who I'm sure will go on to shoulder many more responsibilities in the future. She's an active public speaker and manna. Aisha loves meeting and interacting with new people, and that's so evident in the fact that it didn't take any persuasion at all to get her to agree to moderate this session. Aisha is currently interning at 3 companies focused on youth leadership, journalism, and law, respectively. Without any further ado, over to you, Aisha.
Thank you, Ms. Sonali, for the introduction. I am extremely happy to be here. Today, we will be talking about Ikigai, the Japanese secret to a long and happy life. I just finished reading the book, and it has to be one of the most well-written, diverse books that I have ever read. From psychology to spirituality and even philosophy, Ikigai covers it all. In today's materialistic and stressful world, it can be very difficult to find your Ikigai, which is your reason to get out of bed every morning, or something that makes you happy. But there are people in this world who are over 100 years old, who are active and happy and doing what they love. And if they can be so passionate at their age, why can't we? Our 2 speakers for today will help us understand this better. Mr. Manoj Anchan has studied at the business school at both Harvard and Columbia University. He is an Ikigai researcher, an international speaker, and a happiness maverick. We are very lucky to have you with us today, sir. Mr. Anil Kumar has studied at London Business School, as well as the Indian School of Business. He is a motivational speaker and a leadership maestro. Thank you for being here today, sir. I would now request Mr. Manoj and Mr. Anil to take over the webinar and tell us all about the Ikigai quest.
Thank you, Aisha. Thank you, Sonali. Thank you, Sujay, all the esteemed management of your prestigious school, and the parents who are attending this program. We are privileged and pretty delighted to present the concept of Ikigai. Before I begin, I'd like to once again introduce Major Anil Kumar. He is a very esteemed and a highly decorated military officer. If you remember the movie Uri, the Northeast operation was based on an actual drill which Major Anil Kumar undertook, and he won the highest gallantry award from the President of India, the Shaurya Chakra. Post that, he is in the finance world. He's part of a hedge fund. He went to London Business School, Indian School of Business. His wife is a senior diplomat with the IFS, and I'm sure you will benefit from his wisdom in this talk. So, Anil, thank you for joining us, and let's dive into the presentation.
Thank you, Manoj, for your kind words, and everybody welcome. I can see there are 140 participants. Let me just share the presentation. Can you see it, Manoj?
Yes. We would apologize for some technical glitches, but you'll get the gist of a few videos we would play, and we'll explain also that to you.
Manoj, can you see the first slide?
No, yeah, the first slide, the Ikigai quest objectives, yes. That's the video, you're playing the video, right? Anil, if the video is not playing, let's dive into the presentation.
Okay, go ahead, Manoj.
Yeah, Anil, I'm not able to see have you loaded the presentation?
Yeah, it's on.
It's on, okay. Are others able to see the presentation?
Aisha?
Aisha, are you able to see the presentation?
Yes, the first slide is on.
Okay. Okay, fine. No problem. We will continue. So I'm not able to see it, but we'll continue. So Ikigai basically is a Japanese philosophy for healthy and happy living. It becomes very pertinent in today's world, the VUCA Plus world, where students, young minds are looking for purpose, looking for value. And the objective of this program is how to shape their ethos better to be self-motivated. Ikigai is an intrinsic concept. So how do you strengthen your core to meet the external challenges? That's really what Ikigai is all about. And as parents who are attending this webinar, if we don't know what our child's Ikigai is, then it's our job to find that. We go to the next slide. Anil, are you on the next slide?
We seem to have lost Anil there, unfortunately. So may I request you, Manoj, to go ahead with what you'd like to share with our attendees?
Right, let me try to play the presentation then, if that's okay.
No, isn't it on? I'm here.
No, it's not. It's just on that first slide, Ikigai quest objectives. So it's not loading. Can you try? Earlier it was coming on. Try if it's coming. Close the screen and try again if you can.
Sorry, 1 second.
Yeah. Yes, I think it's better now. Yeah. We're on the Ikigai Quest webinar module. So today what we would cover is an audio video session. There would be some experiential activities. Then we would give you an introduction to the Ikigai Explorer, which is the framework which the child should go through. Then some questions, a self-reflection tool we could distribute through the school management for the child. And finally, we hope to have a very interactive Q&A session. This one is the more detailed playbook, which is available online. We have a collaboration with Finland. It's an edutech company, and Finland, as you know, is the happiest country in the world for the last 3 years running, and their education system is amongst the most advanced. So this is a complete module, and any parent can connect with us later. We won't explain this at the moment. So what is Ikigai all about, the project? So we would cover in depth the 10 principles today for you as parents who get a fine understanding about the concept. Then there are columns, the guiding precepts, the common factors, then the zones. There are various zones of Ikigai, which the child can take a small assessment test, and you would get the results. The blueprint is the framework which the child would go through and complete to get an identification of a couple of points which could be close to the Ikigai of the child. Then there is the action book. Action book is like a templated approach for the student to work over the next 10 months, 12 months to come closer and strengthen his Ikigai or her Ikigai. So this is what we cover in the program. That's the video, if it loads, otherwise we will. This is a short video, 1 minute video. We'll show you the objectives. Thank you, Anil. We're going to spend some valuable time on the 10 principles. Between Anil and me, we're going to cover this. So this essentially is the core of Ikigai, the 10 principles. So first is finding the flow. Finding the flow basically means enjoying a particular activity or a hobby or something that you're completely passionate about as a child. And then in that, when we start doing that, then work doesn't become work, you start enjoying it. And that's really what it is. So here's a story I want to tell you about Jiro Ono. He's a 94-year-old Michelin chef in Japan. He turns 95 in October. He runs a restaurant called Sukiya Jiro. It's one of the top restaurants in Japan and the world. And that's where Barack Obama went in 2015. So the story about him is that he wakes up every morning at 4, come rain, come shine, come snow, whatever it is. And he goes to the famous Japanese fish market to select the best fish for the day. And his son is probably 63, 64, now touching 65. And he tells his dad, why don't you retire? You're 95, just relax a bit. And he says, what will I do if I retire? I will lose my purpose in life. So that's really what it summarizes, the Japanese philosophy on finding the flow. And Okinawa, which is the #1 blue zone in the world. There are 5 places constituting the blue zone. Okinawa is #1. The maximum number of people of over 100 on Earth live in Okinawa. And this is one of their key things, finding the flow. Taking it slow, Yukori. So again, patience. So they are very, very patient. The Japanese and very scientific in their approach. So a personal story of mine that I could share is when we summited Mount Kilimanjaro a few years ago. That's the world's tallest freestanding mountain at close to 6,000 meters. It's a 6-day trek up and 2 days trek down. And the guide who speaks Swahili, Tanzanians, you keep asking them, when is the next pit stop? When are we going to set up base camp for the day? And they will say pole pole. Pole pole means taking it slow, one step at a time. And the 6th night is the summit night, where you start summiting at 11 p.m. and it's an 8 hours hard trek up to the summit point, and the temperature is like -25 considering a wind chill. And every step is labored, oxygen levels are rare, and they keep pushing you, saying one step at a time, pole pole. And then obviously it's completely worth it when you reach the summit. So that's one story that I would like to talk to you on, the value of taking it slow for ourselves and for our children. Build patience as one of the key principles. The #3 one is 80% food rule, which they call Hara Hachibu. So basically, they have obviously a very healthy diet, but they also follow the 80% food rule, which basically means you stop at 80% capacity. If you can eat 4 chapatis, eat 3. If you can eat 4 pieces of servings of some snack, have 3. So that's the golden rule they follow. And you can eat healthy, and if you want to eat something unhealthy, then probably eat it early in the morning, or first thing, so you can burn it out through the day. So this is something that works very well with them. There are written papers on how well this works, which is basically called Hara Hichibu, and we'll be delighted to share all this with you. Anil, over to you.
The next point that you see on your slide is connect. And what better time to understand how interconnected we all are. This is a time when a small virus, that actually cannot move from one person to another unless we are too close to each other, is connecting us and sweeping the whole world. So the Ikigai concept of connect is very simple. It says connect with individuals around you, connect with nature, be together, because the whole earth, the mother earth, is one, and we are all its children. So Japanese know it pretty well, and they connect to the community, they connect to the society, they connect to the family, and especially in Okinawa. And that's one of the reasons when Manoj was saying that they live very long. In fact, I'm reminded of one incident when we talk about connectedness, that as children, how easy is it for us, or if you look at as parents who are, sitting here, how easy it is for your children when they are small, between the age of up to about 10 years of age, to connect with each other. They just automatically connect. Back in, it was last decade. It's been a decade. Time passes. So there was a time we were visiting Perito Moreno, which is the glacier in Argentina down south. And as part of our visit, we were taken to a place which was basically a farmhouse, and we would see the farm, we would ride the horses, the kids will go on ponies, and we'll have a nice dinner and come back. There were only 2 kids because the weather is harsh and most of the tourists were adults. There were just 2 kids, and the younger daughter was about 2 years of age at that time. And there was one other girl who must have been 4 or 5. And the way they connected in the bus itself, and it seemed like they were connected from ages. They were inseparable for 5-6 hours that we stayed in that place. They were so inseparable that we parents had to sit together and eat. And mind you, they couldn't speak to each other. They couldn't communicate with each other because they didn't know each other's language. So that's the connect that human beings as social animals have with each other. And that's what we need to have at this particular time when we are not able to connect. I was doing a webinar in this morning too, and I was telling the moderator, I can't feel the energy coming from the audience because this is the new world. This is the new world when I'm talking, and probably, I have about 160 people listening to me, but the connect is there, but it's a virtual connect. So that's why it's so important when you are at home, you should connect with your friends, whether it is virtually or on telephone, connect with your parents. I can't really speak more than that this is the time when we should all be connected with each other. Because, as they say, friends are the best medicine. If you're feeling down, if you're connected with your friends, they can always cheer you up. And if the students are there, you may have been angry with your friends over some schoolwork, or you've been angry with, you had a fight in the basketball court. You always give up that fight and you connect back. Because the friends are the ones who make life really great. And that brings us to the next point. Friends are the ones who make us smile. And just to not keep it monotonous where Manoj and I are speaking, let me give a small little question to the parents and the audience that are there. If there are kids, just think of a time or a memory or something that makes you smile. When you're thinking about something or doing something, a smile comes on your face. You can either type it, or we have you can type it, or if you don't want to type it, think it in your mind, or you can write it on your notepad. And for parents, please think of a moment when you see that natural smile on your kid's face, when you find them happy. I just give you 30 seconds. You can type it out if you wish so on the chats, or you can think about it. I don't see many people writing on the chat. I guess they're all writing. Oh, there's one hand that has been raised. I guess we can't really take any questions at this moment. Aisha, okay.
Attendees, you may please send in your responses using the Q&A feature. Our speaker is rather keen on this being an interactive session, and he's here asking us interesting questions. I'm sure we have interesting responses for him.
I see the chats here. Okay, never mind. We just move on. I'm sure everybody is thinking of something that brings smile on their faces, something which is happy, something which you feel is inside your kids, because most of the
Anil, I think a couple of responses are coming. When I'm with friends, when I see my children smile, students start dancing when they get to work on the coding app. Okay. I understand that.
Yep.
Lovely. My daughter finding a book that she loves. Okay. My dog makes me happy. She brings an instant smile. Lovely.
Yeah, try doing this. When you get up in the morning, just look in the mirror and smile and say, hey, beautiful, hey, handsome, and set your day. That's what is one of the principles of Ikigai, is that you set your day, you move your day, you start your day with a smile. And I always feel that once you smile, you always get back a smile. Especially when I go out from my apartment, meet the people in our complex. You have gardeners, guards, so many people, cleaners. You have a number of people who work. And the first thing that you do is you just smile, and they give you a smile back, and your day is happy.
Anil?
Yep.
I think we can ask them to do a small exercise this weekend. Every time they are talking to someone, the first thing they should say, are you happy? And let them absorb the responses from their friends, relatives, or strangers. If their opening line is, are you happy? I think they will automatically understand the relevance of this. Yeah, you can complete.
Yeah, I remember that what we did in one of these sessions, that we had a live sessions in one of the international schools last year. Right. And after the teachers training, I only told the teachers, ask your principal or the headmistress, don't say good morning or whatever, you say good afternoon. Just say, I'm happy, are you happy? And see the smile. So we move on to the next principle, which is reconnect with nature, which is in Japanese, it's called as shinzen. I guess, I spoke earlier also about connect, when I was talking about connect, that why is nature so important? If you think about it, human beings, for millions and millions of years, we were living in jungles. We were right in the middle of nature. And it's only 10,000 years ago that we started becoming settlers and we started settling down. And even then, we were always close to nature because these were mostly the farming communities. We would have trees, we would have fruits, we would have everything which is closer to the nature. It's just the urban living that we've now moved into. We somehow feel that we are not really living with the nature. The essence of human beings is to be with the nature. So I'll just like to tell you, if you go out and you have a park, look at the butterflies, look at the look at the plants, look at the colors being changing in every season. And once you start doing that, you would find the nature would start unraveling itself to you, and you will get a connect with the nature, and you will be with a happy smile. And this is one of the principles. And Manoj, you will end up giving thanks, arigato. So over to you for taking on arigato.
Yes. So one of the biggest buzzwords this year is resilience, gratitude, compassion. So I just want to spend some time on resilience. The World Economic Forum's guidelines on hiring going forward list resilience and emotional intelligence as the top two. Now, how do you build resilience? It takes time. Resilience takes time. So, I just want to list down 10 things that a child could do to build resilience over a period of time. Number one is connections. As you can see, it's there in the principles. Accepting change. That's one of the columns. Move towards goals. Then you have taking decisive action. So having a templated approach of progress. Self-discovery, which is the intrinsic bit. Having a positive view about yourself. Taking a balanced perspective of things. Having a positive outlook or a hopeful outlook. Seeing crisis as an opportunity. And taking care of yourself, which is a 360 degrees view. Now, these 10 principles comes from a leading international psychological testing company. And if you can see, there's a lot of similarity with the 10 principles that you're talking about. So Ikigai essentially is a very balanced approach, and it builds resilience. And I am sure, as a fellow parent, and Anil is also a fellow parent, and all of us who are attending this, how I think the biggest challenges is how do we build adaptability and resilience in our children. So, I thought I'd just spend a few minutes on that. The healthy mind, body, and soul is the 360U NEN. What can we do to encourage this for our children? So make them physically active. So in Okinawa, it's about movement. They wake up at 6 in the morning, they're 60, 70, 80, 90, or even 100 years old, and they walk to their neighbor's house or the friend's house and have a cup of green tea. They discuss the day, then they go back home, they do gardening or different things. So they incorporate movement in different types. It's not about the gym. So 15 to 20 minutes or 30 minutes of active movement, is that what keeps them going physically very, very fit? And there are research papers by Harvard Business School which shows the value of having an Ikigai versus people who they studied without an Ikigai. So cardiovascular disease are lower for people with Ikigai. They live longer, they're happier. What do they do for their mind? So they do Tai Chi. They practice Tai Chi every morning. They do meditation. So how do we do that? How do we encourage that for our children? So maybe 15 minutes of mindfulness. And if you know, Delhi Public School, the government has started happiness curriculum a couple of years ago. Dalai Lama has introduced that, and they have mindfulness every day. They begin, I think, Anil, with 10 days of mindfulness, right?
Yeah, in fact, every single day they did do mindfulness, right?
Yes.
In the morning, and every session starts with mindfulness.
They're beautiful. I mean, we attended, both of us attended a webinar last week from the creators of the happiness curriculum. And it was really nice, how they showed the change in the children. They interviewed children and their parents pre and post, and it was amazing. So meditation, body, and soul. So soul is, what can we do? Giving, gratitude. So it's basically a 360U, and that's what the residents of Okinawa practice really well. Moving on to living in the moment and follow your passion, I think Anil will take over.
Yeah, my favorite is always, past is history, future is mystery, and all you have is now. Because if you're living in the past, you get anxieties. You're always thinking about something is playing, there's a record playing in your mind, which is giving you anxiety. And if you're looking far out, looking in the future, you'll always have some, you're always worried. What's going to happen tomorrow? How is my child going to be? What would he be when he or she grows? So again, I would like to involve the parents who are there. I'm sure you all think about the time when what would your child's life would be when he or she grows up leaves the nest that you people are the parents, and they fly on their own journey and they take their own soul's journey. So what would they like to be? So again, similar, either you want to write it down on the chats or just take a pen and paper, think about it.
Hmm. Have you told them the question, Anil?
Yeah, the question is, what would you like your child to be when they grow up?
Correct. Correct. Yeah. What do you want your child to be? I hope we get to see some more responses on the Q&A box.
Or the chats.
Right. The first one is a happy, responsible person. Okay. Happy. Yeah. I think maybe we could make a little bit fun and give them the 3 options if they want to choose.
No, then you box them in, You don't want to box them in. Let them.
Yeah.
Ikigai is wide, you want their imaginations to run wild, and
Lovely.
things are.
Okay.
So as you guys are thinking, writing, contemplating on what you want your kids to be, I'm sure some of you must have read Eckhart Tolle, a spiritual teacher who's the author of Power of Now. So he's the one who basically propagates this living in the moment. And I'm sure many of you would have heard about that Zen master story at the cost of repetition. As I just want to share that with you. There was between the Gompas. If you've been to Darjeeling or if you've been to Ladakh, unfortunately at this time things are not very, very nice there. But there are these Buddhist Gompas where the master and the young budding monks are trained for years. Yeah, sorry.
Anil?
Yeah.
Just a reminder, I think some attendees have disabled their chat and that's why they're not able to answer that. They need to check their chat option.
No worries. No worries. As long as you're there, as long as we've been able to put their mind to that,
Brilliant.
that's fine.
Brilliant. Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. Continue, please.
So all these Gompas that you have, there's a big Zen master, and it's beautiful. If you go there, you see how they get up in the morning and train and teach. It's just fantastic. I've been to Tawang, been to some of these Gompas there. So the story goes as the Zen master with his students have to move from one Gompa to another, and he reaches a river where a lady wants to cross. That's some riverlet. She needs help. She asks for help. The Zen master lifts her up, crosses the river, puts her down across the river, and they carry on. And as Buddhist monks, they're not supposed to touch the woman. So it just so happens that there's one student who's very agitated because he's not in the now. He's thinking about the past and he's got this anxiety. When they stop to take some rest, he asks the Zen master, Master, we are not supposed to touch a woman. Why did you touch her? And the master replied, I dropped her across the river, but why are you still carrying it?
Hmm.
It's a very simple story which tells us in a very simple way that many times we carry the burdens of the past with us. And so many times, people who were actors in that incident that had happened in our past, either they're not even interested in what happened, or even if they do have some rancor, but they're not in front of you. So you need to learn to live in the moment. And that's one of the principles of Ikigai I like the best, because I try to tell people around me, even my daughters, they are 7 years and 16 years old. I tell them the same joke. They know it by heart now, that past is history, future is mystery, all we have is now. But Papa, I want to play some video games now, so can I do that? So
That's a good one.
so that's how it works. The next point is linking into that is follow your passion. And Ikigai means that, what's the reason of being? What's your passion? You live only once, as we all know, and life is actually an enjoyable journey if you follow your passion. I would say idea is to look inside, find out what's there in you, what are your unique talents. And I keep talking about the children because you all are also parents, co-parents like us. Uh, when a child is 7 years of age, he or she looks at everything with a wide eye. Their eyes are like this. So everything is like, ah, ah. So this food. So many other times my kids eat with their eyes. They like the food, but first and foremost, they eat it with their eyes. And at least that is the time when they are very close to their inner self. They're very close to their, I would say in Hindi, they call it karma, or they call it your actual talent. And that's the time when they know what they are passionate about. What is it that makes them let go of time? And as parents, we must look at that and try and evolve or help them find out that passion. And that's what is our journey also as Ikigai teachers, basically to allow you who have grown from that 7-year-old to now an adult, find your passion. You may have been a great painter, or you may have been a great, musician,
Footballer, cricketer.
scholar, musician, you need to find your passion. Look inside. There might be a Michael Schumacher, there might be a Picasso, there might be, Michael Jordan or Mozart living in you. Or there could be, as Manoj was saying, a best chef inside you. So the Ikigai quest is geared towards finding your passion, your Ikigai. So when you live these 10 principles every day, you get closer and closer to finding your inner self, finding your passion. And how that passion can relate to, parents would be thinking, okay, if my child wants to be just a painter, maybe unless he becomes a Picasso, he won't be able to make a living. But the framework that Ikigai teaches is geared in such a way that that actually shows that what you can be paid for while doing what you're good at and what you love. So these are the 10 principles that we wanted to share with you.
I think
We won't take much time on the columns because we will only focus on the principles today. But one point, Manoj, I would like to share with the audience here.
yes,
These columns actually remind me of the columns of Pantheon in Rome.
correct.
So, Rome was not built in a day, and the first point is so apt. You have to begin small. So even any journey that you are taking, it's step by step, pole pole, as Manoj was discussing on how he climbed the mountains. So begin small, and then definitely you will find your inner calling, your Ikigai, and world would be a much happier place for you.
Yeah. Anil?
These are the guiding precepts that we teach in a bigger setting, like when we have more time. The common factors, I won't really dwell more about much about it, except for, one point, contributing or receiving. More you give, more you get. That's a flow or stationary. They say, even if water is stagnant, it becomes bad, it's become decadent. So either you're stationary or you're in a flow. Okay. So the framework that I was talking to you, we've got a small video to show you.
It's a short video, but you'd get an idea of how it works. It takes time to do this, but we're just summarizing that for you in a minute. And once again, apologies if the audio is not coming through. So that was the framework, and we're just going to take some time to explain to you the questions, how it works, the 4 circles. What you love. So what you love about yourself, others, and the world. You got to journal that down, list as many points as you can. Which aspects of your beautiful life you look forward to most? And here we're talking for the child. What is it about these aspects which makes you enjoy them immensely? So they got to write that, and you could help them write that. If you could do more of what you love and less of what you don't love, what would you do differently about your education program? What rules or protocol could you challenge to do so? This is the first circle, what you love. Moving on. What are you good at? So what is a child so good at that others ask them for help? Think about the talents, skills, and characteristics your child has. What do those who know them the best, child best, say you're really good at or compliment the child on most frequently? What is a child's secret superpower? This is a very authentic question, and we should, as parents, dwell on it a lot. Like, what is your child so good at, which can be nurtured like a diamond, polished like a diamond, when the child becomes pretty awesome at, and whether others know it or not. So this is something we can sit with our child and help them write out. Moving on. Then identify what the world needs through the lens of your child. They see it very differently versus what we would see. So if the world needs gratitude, the world needs compassion, the world needs e-learning, the world needs purpose. There are various things, of course. I'm just listing down a few. This is something your child jointly can list down. Moving on. What would be the child's dream vocation? What communication, problem solving, related skills, talents, and ideation or value would people willingly pay the child for? Why are they willing to pay for those? What could those skills, talents, etc. achieve for them? Now look back at the answers for the child from questions 1 to 11, and how you as a parent could shape their passion to develop a smart plan of action for the child to identify and work on the mission. So this essentially is an exercise. It takes time, but we want you to understand how it works. And we've done this with children in different international schools, both here and overseas. And it works beautifully. And you would see the results, what clarity the child can get post doing the exercise. And then as a parent, we can be their partners towards achievement of that vision or the passion the child is so purposefully driven for. So just before Anil takes on the slide, we got the answers from you saying you want the child to be happy, gratitude. So we had done a Ikigai assessment for the children in India and overseas. And the top 3 points where they wanted improvement was gratitude, how to develop more gratitude, how to develop resilience, and how to be healthier. So these are the top 3 points. And as parents, I'm sure it resonates with each one of us. So I thought I would share that with you. Anil.
Yeah, maybe if you can explain a little bit on this framework of Ikigai, live, purpose, and then talk about resilience.
Right. So So if you know, on the left-hand side is the framework. So what is the child good at? What does the child love? What the world needs? And what can be the dream vocation? These are the 4 circles. And then the intersections, as you can see, what between what I love and what I'm good at is passion. What I love, and I'm talking as a child, and what the world needs is mission. What the world needs and what can be my dream vocation is something called a vocation. And what am I good at and what can I be paid for is profession. And the sweet spot is the Ikigai. So when they do the framework, they will do all of this circle by circle. Then they will come throw out commonalities between passion, mission, vocation, and profession. And the final couple of points. And that really constitutes the Ikigai of the child. And if you were to put a mathematical flavor to it, Ikigai is basically live with purpose, have a reason of being, spend time affluently with the fellow students, the teachers, parents, and the community, be in the flow, give, which is gratitude. This essentially equals to the Ikigai quotient, which is the model that I talked about. Okay, we can move on, Anil. Yeah, you could take this one.
Yeah, how good are we on time, Aisha?
You can go ahead. We can finish the slide and then maybe move into the question and answer session.
Okay. You know, as we were saying, this is really a VUCA world, and there is, as we say that if you talk about the Wall Street lingo, it would be there's a lot of blood on the street, a lot of businesses are going down, a lot of uncertainty, markets are volatile, so is, you know, the businesses are volatile, there's so much of uncertainty. It is a real VUCA, I won't even say VUCA world, it's a VUCA plus world. And that's some of the takeaways from the program that that we are trying to achieve is we should be focusing in these tough times on the core values of the individuals, because these are the values, when you develop them, they give you courage. They give you courage to face the world, how it is unraveling. They give you courage to adapt to the changing scenarios. I always go back to my military life whenever the word courage comes in, because we were taught anytime the first bullet is fired, any plans that you made are gone for a 6. Because every time the scenario is different, the battlefield is different, the enemy is different, the day is different, the light is different, night is different. It's all so uncertain. But you need to have courage. And for that courage, you need to build. You need to build with your training. You need to train 100 contingencies, because if you train for 100 contingencies, and if the 101st comes to you, you'll be able to face it with courage. Compassion for each other is so important in today's world. As I was mentioning, one small virus has taught us why we are interconnected. It had risen in some place, but we have stories coming in right from, you know, all corners of the world. We have people stuck, Indians stuck in almost all the countries. I can talk about Latin America and Caribbean because that's where my wife area of work is. And at many times she says, you know, what can I do? There are 2 people stuck on a small island called Barbuda, or there are 3 people who are stuck in some place where we have to take them out. And that's the time when we require compassion for each other. You know, there's always never a straight line. Things are going to be up and down. And this one particular virtue, this particular value human beings need, and this is what Ikigai over a period of time imbibes in you when you are living close to the nature, when you are giving creativity. Again, it's something that we talk about quite a bit. We talked about the Picasso in you. We talked about the Mozart in you. And the 7-year-old. We are so creative when we are young. And especially parents, you need to spot the creativity in your child and make it grow. Because in this world, which is changing, ever changing, you need to prop up that creativity part so that they're able to create opportunities in whatever scenarios they are facing. And with the, I think while covering the compassion, I was able to cover the community part, how it is important in today's day. Just for example, right above me where I'm staying, there's a whole family being down with COVID virus. Uh, there are 6 of them living there. And it's just the sense of community that makes me get up in the morning every single day at 6:20, go at the gate because their milk cannot come. And they have small kids, like same age group, 2 girls who are good friends with our daughters. They can't come out, but they need milk. So every single day for last 1 month, I've been getting up in the morning, though I'm always awake, but I need to dress up and go out, pick up those packets of milk and drop outside their house. And same with the food and stuff. So community, the sense of community is so important. And that's the best thing that the Okinawians have found out. And that's why they live happier and longer. What are the objectives? Sorry, go ahead, Manoj.
Anil, I think we need to move on to the Q&A. We are running a bit late. So quickly, you could summarize your powering and we can just move on.
Yeah, so, you have to reimagine your life, reset your goals, reskill yourself, and move with resilience, as Manoj was saying. And that's what this whole program does for you. You discover your Ikigai, you decide on your future, design how it's going to be, and deliver on it.
So
yeah, go ahead.
Are we ready to begin our question answer session?
Yes, I think so. We're good.
Okay, so we request the audience members to use the Q&A icon at the bottom of their device to send in any questions. One of the questions that I had was, why do some people know what they want and have a passion for life, while others just languish in confusion?
That's $1 million question. I think, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I think Ikigai is a continuous process. So some people are lucky, like Steve Jobs, he probably discovered his Ikigai when he was 30. Some people don't discover it till it's too late. So it is a continuous process. And the earlier we get into it, it's better. How do we incorporate the 10 principles into ourselves as a growing adult, young adult who's ready to face the world? Living a life without purpose is no life at all. Nelson Mandela says that, Mahatma Gandhi says that. So purpose is very, very important. And if you see in today's world, companies are talking about purpose for the company as well as the purpose of employees. Schools and colleges globally are talking about how to incorporate a happiness curriculum which can help the student discover their passion and purpose. So it is a journey. I would encourage everyone to start as early as possible.
Yeah, my take on this, Aisha, is as I was mentioning to you, we were in jungles. Right?
Anil, just 1 minute. Aisha, sorry, could you check if the chat is disabled? There are some people saying they're not able to type in questions.
The Q&A option is open, so they can type it in the Q&A box.
Okay. Yeah, I think to all the participants, please use the Q&A box. Okay, Anil, continue.
Sorry.
Yeah, so as I was saying, they were hardly for us to do anything when we were in jungles. The only thing that we were doing and looking for was survival. So, and till the fire was found out, we didn't even have energy because most of the energy that we were producing with our food had to go in digesting the food. So our brains have been wired to just sit and survive. And that's the reason when, many people probably have their wiring in such a way, I would say that they need to be given a little shock to maybe a Ikigai shock to start moving towards finding their passion, finding their purpose. And that's why there's a big audience wherein, there are some kids who say, yeah, I know what I want to do. I want to do A, B, C. And it keeps changing. I've seen it in my daughter's, the younger one is at a different grade and the older one wasn't that grade and now kept moving. I want to do this, then this and this. But there are some kids who just say, okay, fine, I'm just enjoying my time. They are more in the now. So they don't really think about what they're passionate about, probably because of the wiring that I was mentioning to you. I don't know if it makes sense to you.
Right. Another question. The book spoke a lot about multitasking and also just focusing on one thing. So how can we train our brains to focus on a single task? An audience member also asked, children aren't passionate about just one thing. So how do you get someone to focus on a single task?
Anil, as the father of 2 young girls, you take that first and I come to my boy next.
No, as I was mentioning to you, even in the previous intervention that I was doing, that things keeps changing. The kids keep looking at things and it keeps moving. So when the book says focus on one task, it doesn't mean that focus on one task for 5 years. It means that what you're doing at the moment, focus on that. Go deep into that. So if you're a student and you're reading, you're doing maths, for 1 hour, just go deeper into it, deeper into the concept, focus on that. And then if you're moving towards physics or chemistry or some other subject, focus on that. I guess, that's the meaning of when it says focus on one thing at a time. It doesn't mean, as the book also says, Ikigai keeps changing. It's not saying that it's all dynamic, but at that particular moment, focus on that.
Right. I would like to propagate the importance of mindfulness. So if you do as a child 15, 20 minutes of any mindfulness activity, it can really help build focus into your tasks, be it studies or be it eating. So in Japan, even eating is Zen-like. So when you're eating, it's like meditation. When you're studying, it's like meditation. When you're exercising, Tai Chi is like meditation. So it's all about mindfulness. The child, my son is 11, passionate about many, many things, then working on his Ikigai. And what we do, we practice mindfulness. So he does 15, 20 minutes of some mindfulness activity every day. And, that's what I would say, build structure. So one of the things to build resilience from the American Journal is building structure into your day, having a templated approach as a child. Those are the things that help build focus.
This is more of a personal question. How did you come across Ikigai and how did you decide to become an Ikigai researcher? And how does one become an Ikigai researcher?
Okay. I keep fielding those questions. So I think I was fortunate enough to live a beautiful life, coming from a middle-class family in Bombay. My mother was an economist with the RBI. I played cricket pretty professionally. That was my passion. And then I lived in India for 12, 13 years. I lived overseas for 12, 13 years, pretty much all continents. And I went through certain low points from 2014 to 2017, losing my dad, losing a relationship, and a few other things. And I was practicing the principles of Ikigai for a long, long time. So one of my closest friends is actually attending this webinar. As a parent from Jamnabai Narsee, he would probably know that I was focused on doing what I was doing, and I was passionate about that. And that Ikigai really, really helped me in 2014 to 2017. Of course, having a mentor and a friend like Major Anil, that I will forever be in debt for him. And then in 2018, pretty much having achieved all that I wanted to do in my professional banking life, I decided to quit it all and I returned back to India. And I was researching happiness and I came across the philosophy of Ikigai in 2017, 2018, but I was practicing those principles for a long, long time. I came back because I wasn't happy and I was searching for my purpose. My son is my Ikigai. And he wrote a letter to me from India, and he said, you should come back home and do something which makes a difference, starting with children. And that really got me thinking. Then last year, I went to Bhutan to study the gross national happiness concept. And that's where I had my moment of epiphany, where I saw, smiling face of a young boy, Bhutanese boy. And I said, if they can be so, so happy, why can't we do the same? And that's really how the idea of launching a happiness technology company came into being, where we said we'd use the best technology to teach happiness. And I'm talking of Ikigai as in what a subject matter expert and something that I'm very passionate about. So that really began the journey, talking to schools, talking to colleges, and creating awareness about Ikigai and how the framework can help. And my day is divided into a lot of research in Ikigai, talking to people, taking quizzes, interviewing them, publishing the results, because there's not too much research data available on Ikigai, but it is a beautiful concept. And Anil is there along with me in this journey, and we are very, very passionate to make the world a better place, one child at a time. So, that's my answer.
Another question that I had was, can someone really retire if he or she is passionate about what he or she does?
No, never. That's the core of Ikigai. You must keep doing what you love till the moment, whatever, you're 190, whatever age. If you stop doing it, you immediately lose purpose. Absolutely lose purpose. And you see that happening in the celebrity world, in the sports world. So the Japanese, they say, keep doing what you do with a lot of passion. So if you're making a button, they do it with such passion. So, there were various examples that we could quote about, but no, you should not really retire. Keep doing what you do.
No, Aisha, it doesn't have to be something which is professional per se. I would just narrate a story. I was in Singapore, and one of my Indian American friends and his girlfriend was a Japanese. They were moving back to America, and I went to their house when they were about to leave the house. And, it's culturally very different. And I saw that lady cleaning up the house, throwing the slippers into a dustbin and closing the bag for the dustbin bag, taking it out. And then before leaving the house, she did namaste to the house and bowed to the house. And we were going for dinner before their flight. And I asked her, what is this that you're doing? Because normally people would leave the house, they would get the professional cleaners, but her house was so clean that even the professional cleaners won't have been able to do that. And she said, Anil, this is in our culture. We are passionate about our house. We are passionate about cleanliness. We are passionate about keeping things the way they were. And this is a house, it's more like a temple that I lived for a year plus, and I want to live it as if it's my temple. So Ikigai, when we talk about, is these small little things with the Japanese do, which makes a lot of sense in the world, and that you can keep doing when you're 95, you can keep doing when you're 99 or 105.
Someone asked, children see and come across a lot of negative things and they get influenced on a daily basis. So what would you suggest? How could you solve something like this?
Anil, you want to take this, or you want me to take it?
You start, Manoj, you start first.
Okay. So I think there is a lot of negativity around, and I think as parents, we have a responsibility to regulate what the child sees and what the child doesn't see, what the child speaks or doesn't speak. So I think it's all about, Ikigai lies in the realm of small things. So if you can get the child to enjoy all the small things that make them happy, then they build a much positive outlook towards the external world. So as I said, Ikigai is intrinsic. You build up the core of the child, and they would be well equipped to take the challenges of the different pressures growing up, the growing up years in school or college present to you. So that's what I would say. How do you make your child internally strong? Make them realize the beauty of small things, big and small steps. And I think these are all the tenets and the principles, I would say, and that's what I try to use with my son.
Yeah, I guess it's the same, small little things, make them feel confident about themselves, encourage them, build up positivity. Anything that they do positive, it's an additional positive. So we keep reinforcing the positivity. And when you keep reinforcing the positive things, you would find that they would be better equipped to not get distracted from negative things that they're exposed to. So we have Aisha, there's one hand which is raised by Nonika Nisar. I don't know whether we can take a verbal, like a question like that, or she has to type it out. We have another one raising hand.
It would be easier to type it out because we have a few
Okay.
questions that are lined up.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think Nonika, Bindu, if you could just type it out, and
Aisha could take it.
Yeah. One of the questions was, could you give us a real life incident where Ikigai has helped someone? Like a specific incident.
Oh, wow. There are lots now. Which one we go into? I could talk of someone who's working with us to discover the Ikigai, and he completed the sessions of Ikigai, and then we made the framework for that person. And based on the feedback and the framework, we developed a template. And he said, look, I want to be fit. I want to spend more time with my 13-year-old son. And over the last couple of months, he's been tracking his progress and sharing that with us. And he says, my son thinks I'm a great dad now, and I'm fitter, and few things like that. So, there are countless examples, and I can talk about examples from the school work we do, how it's helping young children who are 10 onwards, year on year, month on month, to, probably have a little more positivity to their life. That's what I would say. And there are international celebrities who do Ikigai. So Steve Jobs is the biggest example, I would say. Ray Dalio, Steve Jobs, these are all people who actually worked on the principles of Ikigai.
Yeah, because they all are meditators. Most of these guys they start their day with meditation.
Is the point of Ikigai just to live longer or to seek a higher purpose?
It is healthy and happy living. The longer one is just a reward that comes out of it. If you have purpose, and that's what Ikigai is about. Ikigai is the reason of being. Why do you wake up in the morning? If you can identify that, your day is great, your time is great, and there's a lot of positivity. That's what I would say. It's not about living long. It's about living life the right way.
Okay, so an audience member asks that there is something equivalent of Ikigai in Indian culture in our Vedas. So they don't know the exact word, but we're wondering if you had any idea or if it's a very new concept.
Sure, this is Anil's pet answer. So Anil, I'm not getting into this.
If you look at all the scriptures, it's not just the Indian Vedas. If you look at the Holy Spirit in the Bible, you look at the Chinese philosophy, the Buddhist philosophy. All these philosophies are primarily looking at telling human beings to find their purpose. When we're living in a society, we have to have a purpose to our life, because that's the question that we've always had. What makes us different? What makes us different as species? Because we are still a species. We are not, but we are thinking species. So in terms of Ikigai, the difference that we have from the Vedic, even if we do have different spiritual gurus who teach about the same thing, we do have yoga gurus who teach about the same thing. They have a very in-depth study of that. Ikigai is probably, I would say, is gives you an easier framework to achieve the same thing. But Ikigai has built-in things that you do, when we're talking about the 10 principles, it also has what you eat. It also has how you connect. It also has, how you live in the moment. So it's a combination of all these things in a very, very easy, gentle way that you can adapt. And you can do it, and you can see the difference in your life doing it by yourself. So rather than you're going to a teacher or a spiritual teacher or going into depths of different scriptures, this is an easier, gentler way of finding your purpose and finding your passion. I hope I answered it, Manoj.
Yes.
I think so. I think so too. Thank you.
So we have now come to the end of our Q&A session.
Aisha,
Yeah.
there's that Nonika has been putting her hand up. So I don't know, it's been long. Maybe you can ask her what is her question. Her hand has been up for a long time. I can see that.
So
Nonika
we
Nisha.
asked everyone to type them out in the Q&A
Her
tab.
hand is still up. If she can complete her question, otherwise we'll continue with what.
Can you allow her to talk? Or
Yeah, I mean, Nonika.
I'm afraid that our attendees are not audible or visible to us.
okay.
Okay.
We'd like to encourage you to send in any comments or any questions that you may have using the Q&A tool, please.
Yeah, Nonika, if you can hear us, you could just type in your question, please.
Someone asked I'm not sure how to pronounce this, but what's Ho'oponopono in Ikigai?
I have no idea. Where is it part of the deck that we're talking?
I'm not very sure.
I don't have a reference to this.
Well, I don't claim to be an expert, but I did attend somebody's webinar based on interesting concept, and I would urge everybody to look it up. It's basically to do with a certain mantra in your mind, such that I'm as practitioners of Ikigai, you would appreciate this. So basically, it's like being able to recite the Ho'oponopono. I'm sorry, that's a tongue twister. It's something to the effect of 4 statements. Whatever situation you may be in, you actually keep chanting this to yourself as a meditative practice a few minutes a day, or in a particular situation where you find yourself overwhelmed with what you are experiencing. So it's basically the idea of I love you. So it's basically the essence is these 4 statements, and they have a profound calming effect and positive effect on people and on situations.
Okay.
Yeah, if I just take a single minute on that, many a times we find ourselves in a lot of negativity that is going into us. I'll try and explain it in a very simple way, that our brain, which is like an organ, like our heart or lungs or kidneys, its job is to keep us alert, make us live this life. But it's also like a sponge. So if you drop yellow color, then you drop a green color, then you drop a red color, then you drop a brown color, and then you squeeze that sponge. What comes out is what you put the last one, which was the brown color. So it's the similar story. If something is negative, which is bothering you, you go 180-degree opposite. So if you feel that you're not feeling healthy, I would say that you just follow a mantra that I'm happy, healthy, and strong, and keep repeating it while you're walking, while you have dead moments, like you're going for a cup of coffee from your desk to pick up a cup of coffee. Do that and keep repeating it. You can either say it or you can just let your mind hear it and see the difference. As ma'am was saying, it really works.
We have one last question before we end. Can a child have more than one Ikigai?
For
Absolutely.
sure, absolutely.
And you must encourage them to have multiple Ikigais.
Because you are the creative self. You are the creation's best creation as kids. So you let your imagination flow, you let your creative juices flow, and as you grow, you will find that you would love one thing or the other. So that's what we expose our kids to. You expose kids to so many things because they are still experimenting. They are still like that small clay. They are still very creative. And they don't really know where their essence is. So they will find it by being that creative self of themselves.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Manoj and Mr. Anil, for giving us so much insight into Ikigai. I now hand it over to Ms. Sonali to conclude the webinar.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aisha. I like to think of it as Ikigai is the reason why you wake up in the morning. So while I understand that parents here are more keen on understanding how they can nurture Ikigai among their children, I think our speakers have taken us through several points, shared personal examples, and made us realize that Ikigai is really something everybody should be, targeting their goals towards. We don't want to wake up when we are 60 or 70 and wonder where our life went by. So Ikigai being the reason why we wake up, something that fuels us, something that makes us happy, that gives a sense of purpose. And immense gratitude to both our lovely speakers here for sharing their time, their wisdom, and their experience so generously. Clearly, your Ikigai is what you are doing here for us right now. I can vouch for that because Aisha and I both know how particular you've been in the days leading up to the webinar to make sure that everything falls into place properly. So thank you so much for your contribution here today.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Aisha, for being the wonderful moderator that you are. No surprise there. And once again, we owe tremendous gratitude to our trustee, Mr. Sujay Jairaj, for conceptualizing these webinars and for ensuring that over a period of time, steadily, they've helped us augment our mental, physical, spiritual, psychological selves in whatever way they possibly could be. Thank you to all those